Just slightly over 24 hours to celebrate Christmas. The health situation in the country is still bleak. This is after doctors talked about we are not going back to work until all our demands are met. That's just some of what we have lined up for you on this 23rd day of December 2020. Good evening and welcome. My name is Ben Troinjue. Lucy Mwaura will be handling our sign language interpretation for this evening. Remember, we are live from the broadcasting house in the county of Nairobi and also on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and also on our very beautiful KBC app. And if you don't have it, kindly do download it because it's gonna save you a lot, and especially if you're on the move. You'll be keeping in touch with the news and also all the latest programming that we have lined up for you. And straight to the news, attempt by the Ministry of Health to end the ongoing doctors' strike flopped on Wednesday. The Kenya Medical and Dentist Union had met the Ministry of Health officials, but failed to reach any agreement. Doctors have stood their ground, vowing not to resume work until all their demands are met by the ministry. Says what the medics are seeking are not only unrealistic but unattainable. Nurses and clinicians are also pressing on with their strike, citing neglect by the government.
For the third day, doctors have stayed away from their workstations, demanding better terms and working condition. A meeting to end the stalemate between the government and KMPD officials Wednesday afternoon stalled, with both sides maintaining their hard stance. Both the two levels of government insist demands by the medics are unattainable owing to the hard economic times occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, while the doctors say the working environment is too harsh for any compromise.
We will not, and if indeed you want to fire us, bring Cubans. That will not help this country. These issues here, resolved, is what will make doctors go back to work, is what will take us to the right direction in this country.
Officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentist Union KMPDU say doctors working at the counties have been neglected and resuming work would only endanger their lives.
Salaries not being paid. You heard them yesterday agreeing that they've not received monies. So when the two levels of government are fighting, Treasury is not releasing funds, counties are crying for funds, they are saying they will not receive funds for 3 months. You want us to go to work unpaid?
Speaking separately, officials from the Kenya National Union of Nurses asked their members to keep off their workstations. They claim the ministry is misleading Kenyans on the true state of affairs.
There is nothing so unique about health workers in Kenya going on strike during the pandemic. There is something so unique in this country for us to be told to continue working when we don't have personal protective equipment so that we can die while some fellows are engaging in corrupt practices at KEMSA.
Clinical officers have also vowed not to bow to government's threats to fire them, saying they are ready to face the sack if that is what it will take to have their demands met.
Our strikes still continue. Our strikes still have never been declared illegal as it being peddled by the government.
Part of their demands is to have clinicians with underlying conditions excused from their duties, saying they are at a risk of developing complications if they are infected by the deadly disease.
What is the CS asking of us? Is he asking us to go back to unsafe environment and accept that we can actually continue dying?
There is need, urgent need, for the hardline positions taken by all the parties to be toned down, and we must find the platform to negotiate and to agree so that we can ensure that Kenyans are not endangered because there are no health workers in our hospitals, but their lives are equally protected in the manner in which that befits people who are on the front line.
On Tuesday, the Council of Governors ordered stoppage of salaries for the striking medics and directed counties to immediately begin recruitment of fresh medical staff. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
Away from that and to education matters, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha now says at least 80% of desks and lockers have been delivered to public schools countrywide ahead of the reopening on 4th of January. Magoha said Turkana County has recorded the lowest deliveries of the learning furnitures at 20%. And as Irene Mchuma Odim reports, an influx of learners to public schools from private institutions has become the latest norm.
Sambu Primary School in Nairobi. The school's tutors trying to maintain social distance in classrooms, also at playground. A reality which pupils and teachers alike will have to cope with as schools reopen on 4th January. The school's principal, Nelius Njoroge, says the number of new pupils expected to join the public school is more than 1,000.
If they all came by the numbers, we can have 1,000 plus who will join us, because quite a number are coming. It's only that we are also waiting to see how many will report back when we reopen schools on Monday, so that we also don't become over-congested. But we know we have capability of hosting quite a number of them.
The Minister of Education says no pupil should be turned away to join a public school.
We shall open on the 4th of January. Maybe there will be challenges as we open. We shall all together deal with them as they come. In the meantime, there is no Christmas for my team except Christmas Day and Boxing Day.
At Ruaraka Academy in Nairobi, the school's administration has stopped enrolling new learners in order to adhere to COVID-19 preventive measures.
The problem we have is that right now we cannot take any, because even right now we are trying to look for ways and means of decongesting our classes.
Grade 1 to 4 learners at the private entity will also be forced to break from midday as schools reopen to avoid congestion for pupils who rely on the school's transport services. But it's a different scenario for the St. Teresa Kisayani Academy School in Makueni. Here, the administration of the private school has resolved to turn its premises to an institute of technology owing to the effects of COVID-19. The administration says parents of all the 130 learners in the school have pulled out their children for the public primary schools, leaving the private school with fewer options of survival.
We are thinking that in case by the time we open in January, COVID will still be here with us. We have made necessary arrangements to make sure that that the students are protected.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, while on an inspection tour of schools in Nairobi Wednesday, said deliveries of COVID-19 compliant desks to the public schools was at 80%, with Turkana County recording the lowest number of deliveries.
For about 3 million children who shall not afford this, the government has found machinery to provide masks to them. In fact, we have already provided masks to a large number of schools, totaling close to 1 million masks. We shall not provide masks to everybody, because I strongly believe that a large number of couples can afford 100 shillings.
The academic term for learners who had been recalled back to school amid the COVID-19 pandemic come to a close today, the 23rd of December. This is out of the norm. But even as parents prepare children for school in a fortnight, the biggest challenge remains the adoption of the new normal, both for parents, learners, and teachers amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1 in the county of Nairobi.
Let's now focus on security matters, where the Ministry of Interior has said that no security officer will go on leave during the festive season. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i said those already on leave have been recalled, as he assured Kenyans of heightened security during the festive season. Matiang'i at the same time warned Kenyans against flouting the Ministry of Health COVID-19 measures such as curfew rules, saying the government will deal with the lawbreakers accordingly. The Interior CS spoke during the official launch of Mutiambai Senior Officers Mess at the AP Training College in Embakasi. During the launch, Matiang'i lauded the SWAT team for tackling cattle rustling, menace and other crimes in the country.
Members of the National Security Council are not on leave, so we are not on leave. We are all on duty through the Christmas period until the new year, because our responsibility is to make sure our country is safe, our people are secure, and whatever work needs to be done will continue to be done. The curfew is still in place, and we have to observe the curfew hours. I want to urge all of us that if there is a problem in any particular police station, in any particular police division, we resolve it. We sit down with the leaders and resolve it. But ganging up, putting together people and telling them, let's go and confront a police station and attack a police station. I mean, honestly, that is not wisdom.
Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry.
Elsewhere, Kenya has recorded 427 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours from a sample size of 7,593. The latest figures bring to 93,195 the number of cases confirmed in the country since March, when the first case was reported. The country also lost one patient to the disease over the same period, taking the death toll to 1,648. Currently, there are 789 patients admitted at various hospitals, with 43 at the intensive care unit and another 3,705 under the home-based isolation and care. Moving on, a middle-aged woman the mass exodus from Nairobi is on, and only less than 2 days to the Christmas day, with public service vehicles making a windfall. Fares have almost doubled for up-country routes as commuters scramble for the few available vehicles.
There is a huge traffic of passenger movement out of Nairobi as Kenyans return to their rural homes to celebrate Christmas Day. At the country bus terminus in the Central Business District, Nairobi, commuters lining up for bus tickets, seeking to link up with their loved ones up country.
Mara nyingi sana, especially tangu mwezi wa 3 mpaka kitu mwezi wa 7, watu hawajasafiri, hawajaenda nyumbani. Sasa imefika wakati at least mtu ako na hamu ya kwenda nyumbani. Na pia vile vile kulingana na kazi mingi watu wanafungiwa, na inafika hii December maybe ndio kuna nafasi ya kutosha.
Kuna wengine wanaenda kwa ajili ya hii shamra ya Christmas yenyewe, lakini kuna vile unajua Muafrika ni kama kawaida, lazima washerekee.
The commuters, however, have to make do with hiked bus fares, which continue to increase every day.
Hapo awali before corona ilikuwa kitu kama 700 ikienda sana, lakini ilikuwa 600. Baada ya corona ikawa 1000, lakini sasa hivi ni 2000.
Operators in the public transport sector revealing improved business as more commuters scramble to book their tickets home. At the Machakos terminus, a 40-capacity passenger service vehicle charges about 2,000 from Nairobi to the Western and Nyanza regions, while passengers have to part with about 2,500 for the 14-seater shuttles, which also have to operate in half capacity in line with the government COVID-19 protocols.
Kulingana na hali ya uchukuzi hii wiki imekuwa quite different. Abiria wamekuwa kwa wengi sana. Kuanzia Monday gari ilikuwa inakata 2,500, Tuesday 2,500, lakini leo tumeona idadi imekuwa watu wengi sana mpaka gari imekata 3,000. Banisha abiria leo wamekuwa wengi.
The public transport operators are too taking the coronavirus pandemic seriously, requiring that every commuter wears a mask.
Kwanza watu lazima waingie na mask, wana sanitize. Kwa kiti tuna ile space, hatukubali kubeba excess.
Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Wycliffe, for that report. You are watching Channel 1 News, and later on, we will be having a short discussion or a short interview on the future of Nairobi politics, and especially now that Governor Sonko was impeached and ultimately thrown out of office. Now we have an acting governor in the name of Benson Mutura, who is the Nairobi County Assembly Speaker. I'll be engaging Tom Ojanda, who is an international social transformation expert on the same, because of course there is the NMS and also there is the Nairobi County Governor. Thank you, Kemboi. Keeps Meshach watching live from Iten. Kimedo keeps Bernard. You're well presented from Narok South. Hajo Harrison Korea is talking about watching from Mulot and really likes our show. Thank you for that. Watching from Central Kamnyakago, Migori County, is Setman Wadgo Odira. And Derek Otieno watching from Changara in Teso. Brian Wamalo, you're watching from Naivasha Town. You love KBC Channel 1. Of course, a lot of people watching via our various social media platforms. Let's take that quick short break. We'll be right back.
Mtazamaji, Christmas imekuja mapema na quick bid. Lucky bidda ako hapa, tumpe ndizi yake.
Ndio huyu anaitwa Penua. Heshimiwa na tumemheshimu.
Karibu.
Nduti ndio hii kifungu. Shika kifungu yako bosi. Ulibidaje?
Niliingia kwa site ya quickbid.co.ke. Alafu nikafuata the process.
Oh yes.
Nikabid 158 na ndio nikaweza kubai nayo hii pikipiki.
Christmas hii hakuna kutembea. Ndio huyu mheshimiwa Kate. Tufanye aje? Shika. Kalia nduti, ndio hii ni ya customer. Hiyo ni yako. Sawa. Kalia nduti, mpachukua element nini yako? Valia, leta nikushikie hii. Valia. Bas, quick bit wanahakikisha pia safety. Iko on point. Haya. Kalia nduti, Kate. Si twende tushughulikie wengine. Si ndio? Si twende tushughulikie wengine. Asanteni sana.
Jiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Here with us, and KBC Channel 1 comes with good tidings for the season as we appreciate you and desire to put a smile on your face with Christmas gifts. To participate, answer a simple question and you stand a chance to win 10,000 Kenya shillings this Christmas. Send a short message to 0771 702 816. Merry Christmas from KBC Channel 1. On the next episode of
Nakwambia leo ndo mwisho wako, unija mimi hapa na usiku leo. Ukitaka kutazama mpira wako, TV hapa.
Yaani mke wangu, hata nisiende kutembelea wenzangu, Sasa Zungu bwana, mimi nakupa mwaliko. Leo basi bodi kabumbu kwangu nyumbani.
Haya, hebu angalia. Waona? Jamani. Wanavyopendana.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping me company. Moving on, a middle-aged woman has been reported dead after her car plunged into the Indian Ocean at Makupa Causeway. The woman, who was in the company of her son, is said to have lost control of the vehicle at Kibarani area in Mombasa County, plunging into the ocean. The son managed to swim to safety. Meanwhile, 3 people have been burned to death, while one is receiving treatment in critical condition after their house was razed down by fire in Mwingi, Kitui County.
The woman, identified as Winnie Acheng, was in the vehicle with her teenage son, who managed to roll down the car window and swam to safety. The 33-year-old was rushed to the Coast Provisional General Hospital, where she died shortly after admission. Confirming the death, Mombasa County Commissioner Gilbert Kitio, he said Acheng suffered serious head injuries leading to her death.
Yule kijana wake ndo amebahatika kuchomoka kwa ile gari, akaogelea akatoka. Sasa kabaki hiyo gari sasa hapo ndani. Sasa katika ule muda kidogo ambao umekaa, baada ya kuchomolewa tukamwona ule mama yuko ndani pia.
Sasa mimi kwa juhudi yangu na usaidizi wangu niliungana na wananchi wenzangu kuingia kutafuta yule mama. Tukamkuta yule mama hana fahamu na amelaliwa na gari. Ndio tukapata usaidizi wa breakdown wa fire brigade, wakaweza kumtoa yule mama nje.
Acheng's car wreckage was removed from the ocean and towed to a Mombasa police station. Meanwhile, a somber mood has engulfed Kanginga area in Kavuvwani location, Mwingi Central Sub-County in Kitui, following the death of 3 people who were burned to death after their house was razed down by fire. The 3 who were burned beyond recognition included a 42-year-old woman and her 2 children, while one is receiving treatment in critical conditions.
Tulipofika, tulikuta nyumba ikiwa inawaka. Tukachukua maji, tukazima maji, tukazima moto, tukafunja milango, tukaingia ndani, tukakuta watu 3 wamekufa na mmoja ako hai.
Kavuvwani location chief Mwinzi Mavungei urged residents to remain calm as investigations to unravel the cause of the fire are underway. The charred remains of the 3 have been moved to Mwingi Level 5 Hospital mortuary awaiting postmortem. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
And to some politics now. Wiper Party, ANC and Ford Kenya have vowed to present a common front in the upcoming by-elections in Matungu and Kabuchai constituencies and also in Machakos County. Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka, ANC's Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula said they will embrace the unity of purpose to win the seats which they claim belongs to the 3 parties. The 3 further pledged to work together ahead of the 2022 general elections.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka played host to his former colleagues in the defunct NASA coalition, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, in his Machakos political backyard. The meeting that also doubled as a forum to peruse the details of the BBI bill that was presented to the IEBC brought on board other leaders from the Lower Eastern region. BBI secretariat's experts were here to take the participants through the document. The leaders saying there was still a window to further amend the BBI bill.
This group fully supports the BBI. Senior ni wazi kabisa. In fact, ndugu Mudavadi was telling me that is like a done deal. But you're also now saying that what is before Kenyans right now is a draft bill.
There can never be development when there is no unity. And the BBI is addressing just that unity. The BBI is trying to bring this country together.
The leaders pledged to work together for political and economic advancement ahead of the 2022 general elections.
That this country has no shortage of good leaders. This country only suffers from an overdose of reckless and selfish characters in public places who derail everybody at every twist and turn.
And I say to them that, you know, distinguished gentlemen, you can deliver this country. You, the 3 of you, and those others who are not here, you can actually deliver this country to the next level and beyond.
The logical thing for us to do is to team up and say, Wiper wakishamaliza housekeeping na wameamua candidate wao, then let us back them.
Elsewhere, Maendeleo Chap Party has unveiled former Cabinet Minister John Mutua Katuku as the party's candidate for the Machakos Senate seat in the forthcoming by-election. The seat was left vacant after the demise of Senator Boniface Kabaka.
Let us find a candidate who at this time is better placed to ensure that the Senate seat remains in Maendeleo Chap. And therefore, we found and we got some interest from Mheshimiwa John Katuku, who is a former cabinet minister and has also served in the government as a member of parliament for more than 2 terms.
Finally, Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has castigated Malava member of parliament Malulu Injendi for claiming that he was duped by him to meet Raila over BBI.
Na akaanza kusema yeye anataka kufanya na mimi kazi. Anataka kufanya na mimi kazi kwa mambo ya BBI, naona ni document mzuri. Nikasema sawa. Unajua watu wakisema mambo nashangaa sana.
And still on politics, I'm joined now by Thomas Ojanga. Yes, I've got that right, yes?
Yes.
Who is a also a strategist.
Absolutely.
But the right name to use is...
Social Transformation Engineer, International Social Transformation Engineer.
Indeed. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
First things first, Wiper Party, ANC, Ford Kenya have vowed to present a common front in the upcoming by-elections in Matungu, there's Kabuchai, and of course, we have the senator seat in Machakos. What do you make of that?
I think that they're coming together is a very good thing because, as we know, perpetual divisiveness in politics has cost us a lot in terms of economic transformation, economic growth and all that. Them coming together is a good thing for Matungu and for Machakos in the other election. The party chairman of KANU, Senator Gideon Moi, also announced 2 days ago that in 2021, several parties are going to come together to have a common front going forward. This is very good for the stability of the nation.
And of course, talking of KANU, you are a member and you're also an official, right?
I'm the regional coordinator for KANU in Nyanza.
Okay.
Yes.
Away from Nyanza, because of the interest of time in both Nyanza and Western Kenya, Nairobi, of course, the governor was impeached last week. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, yes, the Speaker of the County Assembly was Benson Mutura, was sworn in as acting governor, and he pledged the first thing, actually the same day, he actually signed off some money to the NMS. What do you make of that?
You know, Chapter 11 of the Constitution actually spells out the process of removal of the governor, right? And the institutions that are mandated to oversight the executive, the county governments, have made a conclusion that there are sufficient reasons for the impeachment of the governor. And the impeachment took place. The IBC has gazetted a notice for the by-election on the 18th of February. So this matter of the governor and the government of Nairobi is basically complete. However, we must understand one thing. Devolution is a statutory delegation of powers from the central government to the sub-national government. So in that context, the powers of the county governments are borrowed from the central government, right? So I think in understanding that, it's important to appreciate that the taking on of the precedent concerning NMS by Governor Sonko was inappropriate because in this relationship, actually, the line manager is the president. Okay, so I think there will be an election. and the election will give us the new government of Nairobi. But the 2010 constitution is not the first constitution that gave us a devolved system. There was one in 1963 that created 7 regions, right? And Nairobi was not part of them. The reason being that the idea and pursuit of devolution is to address historical injustices and marginalization created by colonial policies that actually designated certain areas as high potential or not. Nairobi and the port city of Mombasa do not belong to marginalized regions and should not have been designated as counties in the first place. So I think that certain powers were removed from Sonko and given to enemies was quite in order. Actually, I was very wise from the president. From where I stand, I think it should have gone much further and probably dissolved Nairobi and given it to enemies.
Indeed, and still on the same, you've talked about, of course, after 1962 we had the Majimbos and the BBI. Some people are talking about the BBI, talking about taking back Nairobi city, county in the hands of the national government. What do you make of that? What about politics? What about the rights of the Nairobi citizens?
No, devolution in Kenya was created 2 times, 1963 and 2010, to address the question of historical injustices. These historical injustices are a result of marginalization first by the colonial governments that designated certain areas as high potential, certain areas not. This was particularly decided that way to use areas that have the potential to grow products for export to the UK. Now that we are independent, we are a republic, we must treat all regions as equal and address those areas that were marginalized. Nairobi and the port city of Mombasa was never one of them. So the creation of the county of Nairobi and the port city of Mombasa as a county was in itself a mistake. So I think going forward, this must be looked at, because if you see all the laws and all the funds that have been created to support the devolution, devolved funds and all that, actually are supposed to address the matter of marginalization. Nairobi was never marginalized. Yes.
And some people have argued that the impeachments, this year we've seen now 2 governors of Nairobi and Kiambu. I can say Nairobi and Kiambu gives perhaps 30 or 40% of the nation's GDP. And now 2 governors are out via impeachment. Is this a threat to devolution? Because some county assemblies might decide we do not want Ojanga as our governor. Now we have to get him out.
I don't think that that's entirely true. Number one, I think the revenue in Kenya, if you look at it, is substantially coming from Nairobi and Mombasa, most of it. And well, economists would argue how to calculate the GDP and all that. But I think the county assemblies are mandated to oversight the executive. How they decide that the executive has violated the provisions of Chapter 11, that is a decision that they make that's in their jurisdiction. They make as a collective. So I think sometimes it is just wrong to assume that everything that is done for political reasons or expediency. Yes, because for that to go through there and go to the Senate and that pass, it means that something must have happened. I think most people assume that because presumably a lot of governors have made similar mistakes, then what happened in Kiambu should happen to, I don't know, whichever other country and all that. So it's like you prosecute all of us or leave all of us, but that's not the way the law works. I mean, each county assembly will initiate the process of impeachment as it deems right and fit. Yes.
Away from that, the Nairobi Metropolitan Services was established by the president back in March of this year and was mandated to operate for exactly 2 years. What happens after the 2 years? Do the services revert back to the county assembly or the county government of Nairobi?
Number one, the central government actually, because the powers of the county governments are delegated, they also have basically the jurisdiction to amend or even to dissolve the county government. And what will happen, I don't know. But we must say one thing. The reason why this was done is because Kenya as a country does not have a framework for delivery of government services and implementation of government programs and services. They don't have a general framework. So the only institutions in the country that have got that sort of expertise is the military. So I think it's very wise of the president to have created NMS and given it to somebody with a military ranking who is trained on delivery and implementation of government services to do that. I would suppose that all these institutions that are problematic, like KEMSA, NYS, and all that, should actually also get the same sort of prescription and treatment so that we can move this country forward. Right.
The Kenya Revenue Authority has been collecting revenue for Nairobi City County since Sonko was barred from accessing the office. So what happens now that we have an acting governor? Can he sign? What are the powers that he can wield? Can he sign off some of the duties that Sonko used to do, and how far can he go? Kenya Revenue Authority, will it revert back the tax collections and the revenue collections back to the acting governor?
I think the Constitution allows him to act. He will be sworn in as the acting governor. The acting in the sense that his jurisdiction is limited to a particular period. I think it's 60 days or so. And during that period, it is a substantive authority to sign on behalf of the county government of Nairobi. Yes.
And what can Nairobians expect for the 2 months that Benson Mutura, the acting governor,
new brooms,
in office?
New brooms sweep clean, as the English say, and I think they can only expect there's going to be some improvement. In any case, now we have a clear, we have a person that is on the steering wheel, and then also the acrimony between NMS and the county government won't be there. Therefore, obviously, I think implementation services will improve, right? Because, you know, Sonko and NMS weren't in the best of terms. Exactly. So this guy, the new the Honorable Mutura, when he's coming in, he comes with a goodwill to work from the national government to work closely with NMS. And that's only to the benefit of
Indeed, thank you so much. Let's see how this pans out in the next 2 months before Nairobians can elect a new governor. Thank you so much, Tom Oganga, for making time, and always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Indeed, and still on matters, politics, constitution, and the laws of the land, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 has proposed that the creation of 70 extra parliamentary seats, which will be shared across 28 counties, with Nairobi County set to get the lion's share of 12 extra constituencies. That is, if the bill becomes law. And according to the bill, the allocation of additional constituencies shall prioritize the constituencies underrepresented in the National Assembly on the basis of population quota. And tonight, on the Constitutional Review, our reporter Ben Chumba unpacks Article 89, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, which proposes to increase the number of constituencies from 290 to 360. Take a look.
If the proposal by the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 is adopted, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, shall within 6 months determine the boundaries of the additional 70 constituencies created in Article 89, subsection 1. The bill proposes to create 70 extra parliamentary seats, which will be shared across 28 counties, with Nairobi County set to get the lion's share of 12 extra constituencies. Kiambu County comes second with 6 extra constituencies, and Nakuru third with 5 more constituencies, Kilifi 4, while Kwale, Mombasa, Machakos, Uasin Gishu, Narok, Kajiado, and Bungoma will each have additional 3 constituencies. A total of 19 counties, including Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Tana River, and Samburu, will not get any share in the 70 new constituencies. In the allocation of the additional constituencies, the electoral body IEBC shall be required to prioritize the constituencies underrepresented in the National Assembly on the basis of population quota. The bill further says the process shall be done in a manner that ensures the number of inhabitants in a constituency is as nearly as possible to the population quota. During the creation of the 70 additional constituencies, IEBC will be required to ensure that the exercise shall not result in the loss of an existing constituency before the commencement date of the proposed bill. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
The Ministry of Education has expressed concerns over what it claims is conflict between the professional bodies and the Commission of University Education. The ministry says that the professional bodies are overstepping their mandates by trying to accredit courses at the institutions of higher learning, something that is a reserve for the Commission. Nabukwesi, who was speaking during the 8th graduation ceremony for the Technical University of Kenya in Nairobi, warned that the ministry will not allow double accreditation of university programs.
The Ministry of Education has put on the spot professional regulatory bodies, warning them against engaging in roles beyond their mandates.
I have noted with concern that even after the High Court pronounced itself on this matter, some professional bodies are yet to reach a consensus with universities offering programs that have not yet been accredited by these bodies. Yet the same are already accredited by the Commission for University Education.
The Principal Secretary for University Education and Research, Ambassador Simon Nabukwesi, while gracing the 8th graduation ceremony for the Technical University of Kenya, said a court ruling has made it clear that the Commission for University Education is bestowed the responsibility to accredit university programs, and that the move by professional bodies trying to employ double accreditation only burdens the government and further frustrating parents and involved students.
The tussle between the Commission for University Education and the professional regulatory bodies should be put to rest as soon as possible.
Technical University of Kenya Vice Chancellor Francis Adwal said the ministry should enroll postgraduate learners on a sponsorship program to enable the country improve its research capacity.
These professors you see here cannot carry out research unless they have postgraduate students working with them. They have a lot of ideas on how things can work, but they don't know how to put them in practice.
At the same time, graduates have been cautioned against relying on employment, but maximize on their skills towards developing the economy.
If you're graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, try to work with Juakali people. Get a Juakali friend, a Juakali relative of yours, and start working with them. Do something.
You find a youth that has stayed for maybe 5 years, 2 years, or 1 year. So it's so good they engage in some activities, income-generating activities. That's the time they'll get other opportunities.
Meanwhile, Masai Mara University also marked its 8th graduation ceremony, where only 100 graduates out of 1,843 physically attended the event in compliance to the COVID-19 protocols. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
Come. Elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta has signed into law the Tax Laws Amendment Bill 2020 after it was passed on Tuesday by the National Assembly. Also signed into law is the Tea Bill of 2018, which contains several reforms, among them the re-engineering of the Tea Board of Kenya to oversee the development, promotion and regulation of the tea sector.
Kenyans will have to contend with higher taxes starting January next year, after President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the Tax Law Amendment Bill 2020 into law. The law will, among other things, reverse the tax relief measures extended to Kenyans to cushion them from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. While passing the bill, Parliament said increasing the VAT tax to 16% from 14% will see the government net an additional 65 billion shillings that will aid in financing government operations.
People who benefited from the corporate tax, for instance, did not do anything for the workers. They still went ahead and laid off the workers, and most of the workers are at home. So we would rather better go back to where we were in hope that then they can actually employ these workers who already they removed from work.
President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the tea bill that will now pave way for the creation of the tea board that will be tasked with formulating policies to guide the sector. The signing of the tea bill is a culmination of efforts by the Ministry of Agriculture to bring changes in the management and running of tea activities in the country. The bill, among other things, will see all tea apart from specialized tea be sold via the Mombasa auction and contract between tea factories and the Kenya Tea Development Agency paid on 5 years. The bill compels factories to pay within 30 days after receiving the payments as part of regulating the neglected sector. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Moving on, cooperative societies have been urged to take a leading role in liquidating women and youth startup post-COVID-19 by offering cheap and accessible loans. Commissioner for Cooperative Development Geoffrey Jangombe said youth and women drive the SME sector that has the potential to spur the country's economic growth.
Currently, the cooperative movement in Kenya is the largest in the region, with over 22,000 holding over $500 billion shillings in customer savings registered. According to the Commissioner for Cooperative Development, Geoffrey Njangombe, the SACCO's asset base could be much higher if the societies could take advantage of the women and youth economic potential.
The youth form a very large part of our population. I urge SACCO's leadership to design new and exciting products and services that will attract not only the youth but also women as well.
SACCOs have been urged to take a leading role in advancing the much-needed credit to the women and youth businesses post-COVID-19 to help the businesses weather the harsh economic environment occasioned by the COVID-19.
As we launch the instant ATM card and also SACCO to bank funds transfer, we are also launching as well the check truncation. It is our belief that these products and these services will increase the contact points with our members.
The SACCO to bank funds transfer will greatly assist members who want to move funds to other banks. This goes in line with government directive of keeping safe during the COVID-19 pandemic.
To tap into the SME sector economic potential, SACCOs have been urged to diversify their products to suit different clientele.
I call upon all the stakeholders in the cooperative movement to continuously innovate, partner and look for ways to improve service provision for their member satisfaction.
This, as the government says, policies and regulations regulating SACCOs will soon be crafted as per the 14-member task force mandated to come up with the policy proposals that will make the sector more vibrant and competitive. The SACCOs have also been called upon to restructure their loan books and give a moratorium to their customers, especially SMEs, to cushion them from the negative effects of the pandemic has had on the economy.
To appreciate the SACCO and other cooperatives in the country for the effort and determination exhibited so far to ensure smooth service delivery to members despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic affecting the entire group.
Alan Auko, Channel 1 Business.
It's time to play, and we begin with soccer, where former Kenya Premier League champions Ulinzi Stars registered their first win of the season after beating Kakamega Homeboys 2-0 in a Football Kenya Federation FKF League match played at the Afraha Stadium in Nakuru. In other results, Nairobi City Stars were held to a 1-0 draw by Vihiga United, while Western Stima were beaten 2-1 by Kariobangi Sharks at the Mumias Complex. Posta Rangers drew 1-1 against Bandari, while Bidco United also registered a similar scoreline against Nzoia Sugar. Tomorrow, KCB will play Wazito FC at the City Stadium in Nairobi. And to some need for speed, Equator Rally is set to make its long-awaited comeback to the FIA Africa Rally Championship Series between the 24th and the 25th of April next year, following the release of the 2021 motorsport calendar today. The prestigious event replaces the highly storied Safari Rally, which has since been elevated to World Rally Championship status.
The 2021 motorsport calendar was released today, breaking the news on the return of the Equator Rally, which makes a comeback to the FIA Africa Rally Championship Series on the 24th and 25th of April. The prestigious event, synonymous with drivers like Rory Green and Azar Anwar, replaces the highly storied Safari Rally, which has since been elevated to the World Rally Championship status. Safari Rally Kenya will take place on the weekend of June 24th and 27th around Nairobi and Naivasha. The iconic Safari had been earmarked to reclaim its WRC slot in 2020, but the event was postponed to 2021 due to the coronavirus outbreak. Equator will be preceded by the season-opening ARC Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally, which kickstarts the Continental Series on March 20th and 21st. It will also count towards the third round of the Kenya National Rally Championship. Safari Rally took over Equator's slot on the ARC series between 2003 and 2020, but the 2020 ARC was also cancelled due to COVID-19 issues. KNRC will start with the Nakuru Rally on the weekend of February 20th to 21st and culminate with Guru Nanak Rally on December 4th and 5th. The biennial East Africa Safari Classic Rally will take place in November. The Rhino Charge will take place in May, while Alfa Romeo Owners of Kenya will hold the annual Africa Concours d'Elegance in September. Meanwhile, Africa Tong Ilmudo Federation President Clarence Mwakio has challenged Kenyan players to set the bar high in international events after the country won the Mombasa Open Championship, which ended in Mombasa on Monday. Kenya defeated 9 other countries to once again be crowned champions of the annual event held in Mombasa, and which was unaffected by the coronavirus due to the measures put in place by the organizers. The team was rewarded today for their exemplary performance, with Senate Majority Leader Samuel Pogisio honored with an honorary black belt by the World Tong Ilmudo Federation founder and president Takamitsu Oshiko.
Kenya has been a very strong advocate of anti-doping, so we're just becoming very compliant with WADA, and I think that it was good that they passed it today. If they hadn't passed it quickly, then participating in Olympic Games would have been a bit difficult for us.
Hoshiko praised Kenya's organization of the event and challenged other African countries to come out strongly and be part of the development of the sport in the continent.
And still on sports, Stoke City are playing Tottenham Hotspurs, and at about an hour played, the teams are 1-1 draw. Of course, we'll be bringing you the latest in our subsequent bulletin. And more for sports fan tonight. Watch Freiburg playing against VfB Stuttgart at about 10:45 p.m. on the DFB Pokal Cup. Remember, it's right here on your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1. Thank you so much for watching. I can see lots and lots of you are watching online, including Setman Owadgo Odira, who was watching from Central Nyamkago, Migori County, Omoksa, in fact, watching live from Pipeline, Nakuru. Kemboi Meshak watching from Litain, well represented from Narok South, Kimetho Bernard, and also the last one, Yvonne Gesare, watching from Nyamira County. Of course, lots and lots of you, and you also comments and where you are watching us from. Of course, tomorrow you'll be led in the news by someone else, and on behalf of my director and all the crew that has worked tirelessly to ensure that you get the correct information and also be entertained. Thank you so much for watching. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter for tonight. My name is Ben Troy. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good night.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, and most counties tonight are experiencing scattered wet conditions, save for the northwestern parts of the country, where we are having Turkana County is experiencing dry weather conditions, meaning they are covered with partly cloudy conditions. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem. Tomorrow, waking up to sunny intervals over most parts of the country, right from the northwestern to the northeastern, the Lake Basin region and western sector. The capital will be sunny, but there'll be cool and cloudy weather conditions which will characterize the early morning hours, and these will also affect counties around the region such as Meru and Nyeri. Equally, in the county of Machakos, the coastal strip will largely experience sunny intervals, but there'll be scattered wet conditions in Mombasa, Malindi and Lamu. There'll be rains in Garissa during the morning hours, and this will affect only a few areas in the region. In the afternoon, we'll see wet activities over the western parts of the country. These will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms and will affect Kisumu, Kakamega, Kisii. Also, Nakuru will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms during the afternoon hours. There'll be wet conditions in the county of Garissa. The coastal strip will experience scattered wet conditions, just like what you will have experienced during the morning hours. And let's have a look at temperatures. This is it. They're still up. Mandera and Lodo will experience the highest across the country at 36 degrees Celsius. The capital will experience highs of 26 degrees Celsius. Up next is the international forecast. Do have a good night. See you tomorrow, God willing.